everybody.
Hello. Welcome to our podcast, episode number 2 of Don't Be This Girl.
Yes, we are so excited to have you back with us.
We're excited. So today we're actually going to be looking at When Harry Met Sally.
Love that movie.
Right? Such an iconic romantic comedy. But again, another one of those films that just gives us this whole
expectation that we might not need to have necessarily.
Especially for the holidays.
Yes.
Right?
The holidays always get us in that mode of we have to be with someone of the opposite sex, no less.
Yes, especially Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve, which is what we're going to take a little bit of a look at. That we just came out of New Year's Eve.
Yes. And we always have that expectation of we have to have a date.
Yes.
We have to have a date. We have to get dressed up, go somewhere, celebrate. But these are expectations that, maybe are just kind of thrown at us, especially through the big screen.
And that being said, so we're going to go ahead and just put that little clip on, and then we're going to talk ourselves through it, and then we're just going to keep going even when it's done.
Yeah.
It's actually they're all fun clips. So here we go. We hope you enjoy this as much as we do. There we go. Ready? And 5, 4, 3, 2.
If they asked me, I could write a book.
I love this.
About the way you
it's our song, that's right, because we wrote a book.
I like you without your beard. You can see your face.
It is my face. Well, dipping you.
He's fun.
I really want to thank you for taking me out tonight.
Oh, don't be silly. The next New Year's Eve, if neither one of us is with anybody, you got a date.
Deal.
And they don't believe he
See?
doesn't.
Now we can dance cheek to cheek.
Right.
It's just to tell them I love you a lot.
Here he is, snipping her hair.
Then the world
Doing it.
And then she has
discovers that my book
Am I falling in love with my best friend?
That's exactly what's happening here. Both of them. This realization that maybe we think highly more of each other than what we actually thought. I want to
get some air?
What do you have to do when you're doing? You have to do.
Yes. Let's put ourselves in the most awkward situation.
So we're running outside as if to get away from all of the love and the cooking.
Yeah, we're looking at everybody else being romantic and celebrating, and okay, now what do we do?
And they're like,
each other. Oh, the eyes become awkward. They are good friends. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He knows not what they wanted to do.
oh my gosh. That is literally the most awkward scene right there.
Yeah.
With two friends that clearly love each other in a way, but he has this rule.
Yes.
That, you just can't be friends with the opposite sex.
No.
And we hear that so much.
Yeah. Do you believe in that? Do you think that's true?
Well, honestly, I have been one of those girls that, claim that I could be.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Most of my friends are guys or were guys.
Before you got married.
Before I got married.
Yeah.
And I live by that, saying, oh no, they're just my friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But come to find out later, no, they all wanted something from me.
Wow.
And even so much so that it became an issue, going forward when I did meet my husband.
Wow. Okay.
And I was telling one of my really good friends, we used to do everything together. He used to let me borrow his truck if I needed a car. My car was broken down in the shop, whatever it was. He did a lot of stuff for me, but I always took it as just a friendship.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband, and, by this point, mind you, I was 43 years old. I already knew what I wanted, what I didn't want. So I knew I had to make some changes. And I always had said, I would tell that guy that I'm not leaving my friends for you. You need to be a guy that is confident enough to deal with my guy friends, because I was the girl who thought that was okay.
Yeah.
But when I met my husband, I was like, I don't want to do that now. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Oh,
So
I love that.
I told my friends, I said, hey, you know, I've met somebody. I need you to respect that relationship.
Mhm.
And I had to cut off a lot of those friendships.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it was a good thing that I did that out of respect for my now husband.
Yes, of course.
And then, like I said, come to find out that they had a little bit more invested and
Interesting.
never really showed it, but it was just enough for them, like when we would hang out, to have that connection. So, I mean, who knows what was being said behind closed doors?
Sure.
I have no idea.
That's so interesting. I do feel, and maybe Billy Crystal was right in this, and as he played Harry in this movie, is that maybe at least one of the two might be the person, and the other person, like you, might be totally oblivious to that whole thing. And I've had so many guy friends myself, and in fact I talk about it in our book, and I love that you just shared that, because I did mention that in our book, how there was a time I was young, I was like in my early 20s, and I had a bestie. He was a guy, and we did everything together. And I remember, and I was dating somebody also. And I remember one time this guy came over unannounced, and I was so upset. I'm like,
your bestie came over?
No, me and my bestie were hanging out, and the guy I was dating came over.
Oh.
And I was mad at him because me and my bestie were going to go we were going to go out to eat.
Oh, so there was a little bit more in your relationship with a bestie and this other guy that you're supposed to be dating.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
I love my bestie way more. And I was like, what are you doing here? Like, I was so offended, and he's like, well, I came to see you. This
poor guy.
I know. So I talk about it in the chapter. I say, don't be this girl, because looking back, it was so harsh. And everybody has feelings. And sometimes as women, we can be a little bit more like, oh, but his feelings, I'm not talking about that. There's a time and a place where you need to say, you know what? Yes, he has feelings, but you're more important. Sometimes we put ourselves down and we elevate the guy. But in this case, I mean, I was all about my bestie. Like, we were going to hang out. We were going out to eat. I was so offended that this guy that I was dating came. And it's like, no, don't be that girl. Don't be rude.
Yeah.
And I could have said, well, do you want to come with us? There were some things I could have offered. And I just was like, no, you're not.
Wow.
Oh, no, you're not hanging out with us. We're going out.
Dang. That is harsh. Oh, my gosh.
Don't be that girl. Don't be terrible.
Oh, my gosh. So,
I know.
okay, so let me ask you. We saw the New Year's scene and the awkward friendship thing. How do you feel about that? Like, the whole thought of having to have a date for New Year's and stuff like that. Is that?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, so like I'm in my 50s and I've never been married, guys. But I think in, my early years, I felt like you have to be with people that you're going to enjoy your time with. But there was definitely that season where I was like, I need to be with this guy, even though I had a problem. I think when I didn't realize it until I was like writing the book. It's like, I was pretty shady in my late teens and early 20s. But I remember having a boyfriend, and I spent New Year's Eve with another guy friend. This was a different guy friend, different boyfriend. So this was like 3 years earlier than what I just talked about. And same thing, here I was, but I actually had a thing for my guy friend that I was going out to the movies with that night.
Okay.
And there we were, New Year's Eve. We didn't kiss or anything. And I had a boyfriend, but I really should not have been at the movie theaters with this guy on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend, we were skiers. We grew up skiing, and he was skiing. He was out of town skiing with his family. So I was like, well, I'm just going to hang out with the guy that I'm really into.
Well, that seems okay. I mean, your boyfriend was out of town, so why not? Right? It seems okay.
Yeah.
But then, like, what I'm hearing is that you kind of had it, a little something for your best friend.
Yeah.
So.
And we ended up dating like a few months later.
Yeah. So the question at that point is, why did you have a boyfriend? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, that's what we have to ask ourselves.
Yes.
It's like, who do you love? Isn't that a song?
Yeah. Who do you love? Who do you love?
So, we have to ask ourselves those kinds of questions, because sometimes we might be hurting somebody else's
Yeah,
feelings. And
absolutely.
women, we can do this too. It's not just the guys that hurt feelings.
Yes.
Apparently we could do it too, because, we are young. And
we are young.
Listen, there is Pat Benatar, and then we got little Miley Cyrus with her, what was it? I can't remember her song, something about, well, I was crazy, but I was young, you know? And that's exactly what we're talking about
Right.
a lot in our book too,
Yes.
is, going through those experiences that we did. But, we were younger.
Mhm.
We were maybe unexperienced or, not experienced in
Yeah.
that scenario, or we thought we knew better.
Sure.
Right? We thought it was an okay thing
Mhm.
to have a bestie that was a male
Mhm.
and put him first.
And we were selfish.
Yeah.
That really is a selfish mindset, and we're definitely going to be stepping on toes as we talk about these types of things, because so many people listening would be like, oh, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But that is a selfish mindset.
Yeah.
And like you said, why was I even in a relationship if I was going to be hanging out with my bestie instead?
Yeah.
I needed to have been out of the other one.
I remember, and if I remember this correctly, I'm sure my son will correct me if he sees this episode, but I remember when he had a best friend that was a girl I think it was in high school. And then one of his other guy best friends started to see this girl. And I said, babe, I think you need to stop talking to her.
Oh, wow.
Stop the phone calls, stop the texting.
Wise
all
words
of that
from mama.
And he was like, you are crazy. We're just friends. He's totally fine with it. And then, if I remember correctly, his friend told him, yo, I need you to back off. Like, I need you to not be, having that kind of relationship with her.
Wow.
And, it's that kind of, and that was a young kid. So kudos to him, because he knew, like, listen, now you're stepping into our relationship now. And we maybe shouldn't be having that kind of relationship with somebody. We have to learn when we need to cut it off.
Yes.
When it's going to be hurtful to this new person now that you supposedly love.
Yes. Or wanting to get to know better.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
We have to put some boundaries up. And I think that's a big thing that we kind of miss on, and in so many different aspects of life.
Absolutely.
Work boundaries, relationship boundaries. There are so many boundaries that we have to put up, even with our family, you guys.
Yeah.
Even with our family.
Sure.
Friends. I know now, being married, it's like, okay, there are boundaries that it's family time, it's husband time. There are times where we just have to say, like, okay, no, because I need to give a little bit more to my spouse.
That's good. Yes, which means you're putting him first. Again, that's the reversal of the selfishness. Yeah. Because somebody who's selfish is not even going to see that. Right. But somebody who's saying, no, this is my spouse, this is my husband, this is my person. And I want to honor him with my time and with my emotions, and letting him see he's first place in my life. Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful, and it's so needed. And I feel like sometimes with this whole independent, like, oh no, well, me first. And no, girl, don't get it twisted. If you're married, you said, I choose you first, for better and for worse. I'm saying I'm committing myself to you first. Yeah. You are first place in my life. And I love that you said that, because that's important. And I've seen you do that. I see you walk that out. Yeah. And I, even as your friend, your co-author, we've been friends for years. Yeah. And I've just loved watching you do that. Thank you. Yeah. And it didn't used to be that way. I mean, this girl could be selfish, because I was single for a long time. Yeah. And I felt that, I had the right to do and say whatever I wanted with whoever I wanted. Yeah. I just felt like I was confident enough to not get stuck in a situation, in a bad situation. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I think I even told Kyle that the night I met him, because the night I met Kyle, this poor guy, I gave him 21 questions and then gave him a little bit about, who I am and, what my make-its and break-its were and all those things. I like that. And he didn't run. So I was like, okay, let me hang on to this guy. I'm reeling this guy in, because he did not run away. He's like, okay. Yeah.
So, but I think I might have told him that night too, like, hey, you need to be okay because 90% of my friends are guys.
Okay.
And he is the most confident man.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's good because the one thing I will say that freaks some people out now about me is that I'm friends with all my exes.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I am too.
I do keep them at a distance now.
Oh, sure, of course.
Except for like, you know, my son's dad, like, you know, we do holidays together. And I think that family dynamic has been very good for us.
Yeah.
But now, you know, there's that cutoff where it's like, okay, I'm no longer responsible for that person.
Right.
He's in another relationship. I need to let her do that. And I need to cut myself
of course
out of respect for my relationship with my husband. So, so, I mean, it wasn't always that way.
No.
I was just like that going like, oh no, I'm going to be with whoever I want to be with. And you're just going to have to deal with that.
Well, I love the boundaries. And it even takes me back to the clip we just saw with Harry and Sally, because they didn't do what you did. Like the verbalizing, like, let's just communicate these clear boundaries. Like, okay, we're going to hang out for New Year's Eve. Let's be real with where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm a little into you. I'm not into you at all. Like, let's find out where we're both at. So we don't go into this thing and then we're feeling awkward and like, it's New Year now. And now everybody's kissing and we're looking, and it's weird and awkward. You could feel the awkwardness. Was so awkward. Right.
Yeah. It's like, you don't even know what to do next.
Yeah. And then they were friends and like, okay, you know, it's like,
yeah, it was just weird. You know, it's like when you go in for a hug with somebody who is like, oh no, this is my space, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like tension in the air, and of all places to be. I mean, it was just the funniest scene ever.
It was funny. No, it is.
But yeah.
Well, those movies, we love them, and that's why we were enjoying just talking about some of these scenes and things that we've just grown up watching. But when you think about it, it's like, yeah, let's talk a little bit about this.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, I would love to hear what some of the viewers think about, you know, hey, do you guys have, do you guys have friends like that where, you know, you put your best friend first, if you know, if it's somebody of the opposite sex, and how do you guys deal with that? How do you guys navigate that?
Yeah, I love that. So good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about another guy friend, but this was in my late teens, and we did everything together. But he didn't know, but I was in love with him. And I never told him. I talk about it in the book as well. I never told him because he was such a player. And I would, and I would hear him talk about all of these women that were, I mean, literally they were booty calls. And he'd be like, oh yeah, this one, oh, she nothing but, I mean, he would say these terrible.
Wow. And you're in love with this guy?
I was.
And you were like holding it in.
Yeah, but I was like, I will never be that girl that he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I never said a thing. And then years later, we talked as adults. We always stayed in touch. We talked as adults, and we ended up meeting for one night. And the minute he walked in the door, he just like kissed me.
Like a real kiss?
Like a real kiss.
Okay.
And I was like, I just said, okay, I'm going to follow suit. But when we were done, he's like, oh, I've been wanting to do that since the day I met you. And then I said, I think I wanted to know what it was like, but I didn't feel anything.
It was like kissing your brother.
I mean, that's what it was. He's like, no, that can't be possible. I mean, if you felt what I said, I really didn't feel anything.
Oh man.
It was,
after all of those feelings that you thought you were having, and then it was a total dud.
It was. I'm like, I wish we never would have kissed, because the kiss
kind of ruined it, right?
The kiss came about either my late 30s. Yeah, I was in my late 30s, but we hung out in my like 19, 20, 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Years. But at least I knew, nope, he was not the one.
Yeah, he ain't the one. He ain't the one. Sorry, honey.
I know.
Oh,
I don't even think he watches YouTube. So anyway, yeah,
that's crazy though.
So it's important, you know, when you're going out, holidays, like just already know your boundaries, know your heart. And I just feel like bring it in with people that you love, that you're going to celebrate. Like, why have the drama? Why have the awkwardness? Why have the tears,
Mhm.
the fighting and the tears? We know there's another clip we talked about, but we didn't show it. But with Ashley Judd in the movie Someone Like You.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a heartbreaking scene because she had already been heartbroken by David, her coworker, who ended up dating her boss. He was dating her boss before,
Right.
right? And then
Which Jane didn't know about.
Jane did not. Jane Goodall didn't know. He jumped over to her and then got all excited because she was the new thing, the new meat, the new cow.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, didn't they move in together?
They started to. And then
Oh, that's right.
and then when they were
And
looking
he
at the
bailed.
apartments, he's like, "Oh, this isn't working." But it really, I mean, he just every excuse to not move in with her because he got back with his ex-girlfriend who was her boss.
Yes.
And he just was a dirty dog.
We love Greg Kinnear.
We love you, Greg.
But,
And we loved you in Sabrina too.
oh, yes. And we will be going over that one for sure. Oh, I don't know. You know, it's so funny in Hollywood once you get those, those
Typecast,
roles
yeah.
and you get typecast. So, poor Greg.
I know,
Poor
but he
Greg.
was lovely in I just don't know how she does it, or I don't know how she does it with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, I don't know if I remember.
So
that
cute. I don't know how
movie.
she does it. I think that's what I'm gonna have to. Oh,
Okay, we'll
so
have to watch that
he's
one.
they're both adorable in that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
funny. But yeah, we were talking about that movie and just, it was just so sad. I think she
Ugh.
went to this holiday party that
She was she was waiting for him.
at
and he-
the holiday party, he didn't go?
She was waiting for him to call her. So she was
Oh.
all dressed up with nowhere to go. And her roommate, Hugh Jackman, was yeah, like that's a hard roommate situation.
That would be a hard roommate situation.
Yes, it really would be.
I mean, y'all are running around in your undies and stuff.
Sharing a bathroom, I'm like, that's
No.
that's
And
a whole other
Ashley Judd,
topic.
too. That would be hard for a guy. I mean,
Yeah,
come
she's
on now.
adorable.
She's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes.
she is. But it was heartbreaking, and I felt for her. I don't know that I've ever been in that situation, but I'm sure there's been holidays where I've been crying on New Year's
Yeah.
Eve for whatever reason, for a guy, whatever. And he left her. He never called her. So she ended up trying to find her roommate at this party,
Oh,
and she couldn't
yeah,
find him
that's right.
anywhere. Oh, and she like leaves the parties and she's running, and then her shoe breaks when she's running.
yes, that's right. The heel breaks. Oh my gosh. It does take me back, and I think I wrote this in the book too. It does take me back to a scenario where the guy I was dating, he was in a band,
Mhm.
and my girlfriend and I, and all of our friends, actually, there was a group of us that were going to go support him. I was so excited for this new relationship and so excited that he was, this great drummer, and he was in a great band, and, we were going to go see them play. And we went, and he was on a date.
Hold on.
On a date.
You went to go and you were dating.
We had been dating for a while already.
Oh my God.
Oh no, it gets better. It was his girlfriend.
Oh my goodness. So you were the other.
I was the other girl, and I had no
Wow.
idea.
Yeah.
And they were living together, broke up, moved out.
Ladies, come on, wake up.
Yes,
See the signs.
I'm talking. Those things that they put on the horses.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was me. I did not
Blinders.
see it. I was just
Wow.
so all about
Infatuated,
this guy.
obsessed. Yeah.
And the sad part is I did that, stupid thing where I was just like, oh, I'm good. Be on your date then. That's fine. Me and my friends are going to have a good time tonight.
You stayed?
I stayed. Oh yeah. I stayed. I ignored the situation.
Wow.
I acted like I was all good. And this horrible relationship went on for 4 years.
Okay, no.
4 years, girlfriend.
Even 4 months would be like too much. But again, this is awful.
Yeah.
But we do these things when we're younger. How
Yeah.
old were you when this was going
I
on?
was 20. How old was I? 22, 21, 22,
Wow.
somewhere around there.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it hardened me, and it made, for
Yeah.
a lot of other issues,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought I could just ignore it, those
Mhm.
feelings.
Yeah.
and I thought I'd get past it. And man,
Did it crush you at that moment? Did you cry at any point, or were you like, I'm good, and then you kept going? Did you ever talk to him about that?
we did. We
Okay.
had a conversation about it. He, admitted everything. And
Wow.
then we just moved on from there because, again, I thought I was the lucky one because I had him most of the time. He had already moved out from that. So I thought he had moved on. But
You're not the lucky one. It's the exact opposite.
right.
You know.
Because he is not only hurting me, he's hurting someone else.
Yes.
And you're now a part of hurting someone else.
Yes.
Because I had no idea about this girl or how she felt or anything.
Did
and
you
like
talk
I said,
with her at all, or
no. And we went on to have a relationship, and we went on to have my son.
Wow.
And you guys will read about it in the book. I mean, it was a lot of issues that came from that. But don't ignore, my whole point in that is don't ignore how you feel. Have conversations. Do not try to be the tough chick.
Yeah.
Do not try to be that person who's just going to put a mask on and just, smile and nod.
Don't turn the blind eye.
Smile and nod. No, that was so last year. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You need to let whoever it is know.
That's not okay.
You need to communicate.
Yeah.
You need to let them know what your boundaries are, what you expect.
Yeah.
Because you're worth it.
Absolutely.
I should have never felt like it was enough.
No.
No.
And you should have never felt like you were the lucky one.
Right.
Yeah.
No, because I was surely not the lucky one. The only good thing that came out of that relationship was my baby
son.
boy.
Yes. Yes. So now is a beautiful papa.
Yes.
Married.
Daddy of his
And,
own.
yeah.
Yep. So that's the good thing. But let me tell you, that was years.
Yes.
And years, not just the years I dated, but years after having to deal with all of that and just, woman after woman after woman after woman.
Wow.
So, yeah.
How do we strengthen our listeners or viewers if they're in this situation now? Because I think both of us now being on the other side would be like, get out of that relationship and don't ever run back. But how would we strengthen them to get out? Because sometimes I feel like your identity was wrapped up in him. And I share in the book as well, something similar for 3 years, very toxic. And friends telling me, his friends, oh, he's cheating. And I just ignored all of that. I was so in love with this guy. I didn't care. I lost my identity in him. And it was a waste of years. It was so much heartache and heartbreak and trauma that took years to heal and recover from. And then you look back and you go, I've wasted all this time. Now, I had no kids with him. And I just wasted all this time. It took me so long to graduate from college. It took me 10 years to get my bachelor's degree.
Wow.
And 3 of those years, we were in a lot of the same classes. Here we are fighting, drama happening. And then I'm not going to go to class because I don't want to see him. And I would end up dropping my classes. Just horrible, making dumb decisions. And, I stumbled on this phrase that we've loved and we've adopted it. We've added our hashtag, how bad choices make good stories.
Yes.
Hashtag, don't be this girl. And we're begging you. We're saying, don't be this girl.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. And you lose your family, people that I loved. They cut themselves from my relationship with me because of him.
Yeah.
Later on, all of that was restored. But why go through all of that?
Right.
Why, if you don't have to, don't go through that.
Yeah. It's like, don't put yourself through that.
Yeah. So how do we encourage and how do we empower and strengthen our listeners and viewers to see themselves for the incredible people they are and to say, no, you have value and you are of worth. Get out of that situation. Get out now.
Yeah. And I think I might have mentioned it on our last podcast is knowing yourself, knowing who you are.
That's it.
Right. We talk about Jerry Maguire and the "you complete me" phrase
in the book. Yeah.
No, honey.
No.
Okay. You need to complete yourself. Like,
yes.
A man is not going to complete you.
And no one's going to have you at hello. Let's just be real.
Right. unless it's like firecrackers and, corks popping and all sorts of stuff. No, but seriously, just knowing who you are.
That's good, Yvette. Yes.
It took me years. I mean, years, literally.
Mm.
I mean, I think that happened, like I said, my early 20s. It took me 20 some years before I could figure out who I was and what I really wanted from a man and what I really wanted in my life.
Yes.
It took forever and it was painful.
Mm-hmm.
It was painful.
That's so good. I love that. We need to know who we are. And then that helps just kind of prepare the pathway for those beautiful things that life really does have for us.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know that you are of worth and you have to want those things for you as well.
Right.
And don't settle for the crumbs like, oh, well, but I just don't want to be alone. No, it's okay to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be alone
and
have peace of mind and soundness of mind and live your best life and do the things that are in your heart. We're not being cliche. This is my life. This is your life as a married woman, because you waited and you did the work and you found out who you were. And that attracted this wonderful person that now you get to call your husband.
Yeah.
So I think that's so good. I love that.
And just surrounding yourself, I think, with the right people.
Yeah.
Don't let people talk into your world if they themselves haven't figured it out.
No, come on now.
Right? Like,
let's go to the wise counsel.
Why are you asking your broke friends for financial advice? Okay, it's all the same. It is all the same. We don't want to be taking counsel from our brokenhearted girlfriends
or the bitter ones.
Yeah, like divorced girlfriends. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I have a friend that has been divorced and she is my best friend and my best, counsel.
Sure.
That I can bounce stuff off of, and she keeps me straight.
But she's probably done some work and has some wisdom to her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. And she always reels me back into reality,
Yeah.
But, surrounding yourself with the right people is the other big important thing,
That's good.
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes.
Because we could do that. We could do that, even though she's a single gal and I'm a married gal now, but it's all of the things and just being able to have conversations and communication is huge.
So good. I love that. Love that. Well, I think we've wrapped up a nice little episode here for you and presented to you in a really pretty little platter.
Yes. Yes.
Well, hopefully you're chewing and digesting. We have so much to say. We have so much to share. We've got years and years of wisdom and experience that we've personally walked through, things that we've studied. And we're not saying that we're the where all and be all of all of those things, but we definitely do have wisdom. And
we want to share it
with you.
Yeah. Because some of our pain, might help you to not go that route.
That's right.
Not go down those roads and stuff, because you might be like, oh, I don't want to be like these girls.
No.
Did you read that book? Because those girls were a hot mess.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we put it out there for you guys. So thank you guys again for watching,
for joining us,
listening to our podcast.
And if you haven't yet bought our book, go visit on Amazon and just type in "Don't Be This Girl." And we say, don't just get a book for you, but get it for you and a couple of friends. It's really, it is a good read.
Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet already
subscribe to our podcast.
YouTube. Yep.
Yes, we love that. Well, thank you guys. We're so excited. Thank you for being on this journey. Subscribe to our podcast. And until next time, we're encouraging you and reminding you, don't be this girl.
Bye, guys.
Bye.